Welcome. Thank you so much, everyone that is here attending the Magic of Quadratic Funding. This is a hands-on workshop to learn how Web3 can accelerate our regenerative actions. And I'm so excited to be here today. I've got Will T from Kingfisher's Media, and he's going to be supporting me on this active hands-on workshop that we are about to enter. So before we start, I just wanted to give a little bit of my journey here to Web3, to ReFi, to Tulum. I got here about 3 years ago. Before that, I was very active in the ocean space. I had a marketing agency called Blue Economy Agency that was dedicated to technologies to help support and regenerate the ocean, mostly in tech. Before that, I had a very extensive background in Silicon Valley and working with different tech companies, startups. I had a company, a startup myself, and really, came around to the idea that I wanted to use that skill set, my network, everything that I had learned along the way, and apply that for the benefit of the planet. And that's when I became an ocean actionista. And an ocean actionista is someone that not only talks about what they're doing, but is also taking the actions. So we do a lot of actions here in Tulum. It's something I'm really enjoy, and I think it's really important. And that's a little bit about me. I want to have Will T give a little introduction about who he is.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Excited to be here today. This is amazing. I'm glad we're doing this. Finally, we got together and we collaborated about things that we're passionate about. So, hi, everybody. My name is Will T. I am a blockchain educator. I'm also the founder of Kingfisher's Media, LLC. If you saw on the previous slide with our logo, our tagline is empowering regenerative education. And essentially what we're looking to do, instead of necessarily educating people about regenerative practices, processes, and initiatives, is make the education itself regenerative by having our learners replicate that out into their networks and their natural ecosystems. A little bit of background about me. So I'm a 26-year business-minded individual veteran. I say veteran because when I first discovered blockchain technology and everything that it was capable of, I immediately quit my corporate job, and started my own business as well. Not Kingfisher's Media. I have another business behind that, but that's not important. What is important is that I am an advocate for transformative education. I'm an advocate for breaking down the barriers or maybe the challenges that people have in finding quality education, especially if it's education that's lacking in the traditional educational models. Also, within the last year, I authored a book, which is a culmination of my masterclass content called Welcome to the Access Age. And I'm very passionate about this title because I feel with blockchain technology, at each singular connection point, it's giving us access to something like we've never had before. So I'll leave it there. And thanks for having me, Sandra. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Will. Well, now we'd like to learn a little bit more about you. Can you tell us about yourself and what you hope to learn today? Tony?
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, Tony O'Brien, and I'm here to learn about the possibilities. Love to learn more about what you're doing. I've been a fan of what I've seen so far. It's really cool and really important. I'm not exactly in this space. I'm in the space of wellness, emerging technologies, merging it with nature's wisdom, all for anti-aging, super longevity. So it's a totally different space. But I am someone who really cares about having a clean place to live and regenerating the ocean and using new technologies like this to also break us free financially.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that's really great to hear. And I think that, all of us that care about the planet and care about regeneration really need to look at the financial aspect of it as well. And how do we, the regeneration is about developing resiliency, but we also need to develop that resiliency in the financial sense as well. So it's great to hear that that's what you want to learn, because that's what we're going to be diving into. So what is refi? Refi is in an alternative financial system that has been developed. It's not refinancing your home, it's regenerative finance. And it's really a new mechanism that is built on blockchain technologies that can use things that are tools that have been developed in the DeFi space, decentralized finance, tools like NFTs, NFT staking, and other mechanisms, and basically leveraging those tools to regenerate the planet. Refi is really about putting the care of our families, of our ecosystems, our communities, ourselves, really at the center of all of our economic activity, and developing an inclusive and sustainable financial system. So that's what refi is about. Any questions? But we want this to be a little bit of an interactive workshop as well. So if you have any questions or want to raise your hand, feel free to jump in. One thing I also wanted to mention is that blockchain technology in general, if you go back to the origin of it with the Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto, part of the ethos of blockchain are transparency. Well, that paper was developed in 2008 on the heels of the financial collapse of the banking system in the US and the housing lending sector. And what Satoshi saw was that, these abuses in the system. And so he developed this blockchain technology, based on cryptography that enabled peer-to-peer transactions. So really enabling us to take the power of our financial decisions out of the hands of the centralized systems, out of the centralized banking system specifically. So part of the ethos of blockchain, and there's a lot of terms that I maybe we'll be using. So blockchain, refi, DeFi, Web3, crypto. Web3 is sort of the all-encompassing term for all of those things. Blockchain is the underlying technology on which those are all built. And then refi and DeFi are these different funding mechanisms that have been developed on top of blockchains. And yeah, so other parts of the ethos, I'd say, of the decentralized ethos that are important are transparency. And for refi, another big one is impact tracking, and then also self-custody. So transparency in that while all transactions are private, and then there's a public key that is associated with each transaction, you can't really see the identity of the person behind that transaction. In terms of impact tracking, what is starting to develop with blockchain and with refi specifically, which is really exciting, is that we're actually now putting our impact metrics on the blockchain. And that means that they are going to be there in permanence. They can't be changed, and anyone can really see the impact that we're having. And then self-custody is really about self-responsibility. And that comes in with your wallet ownership and how you take care of your wallet. So those are just some of the key things that are important about refi and blockchain in general. With refi Tulum, we've been around now for a year, and we are very excited because it's amazing to be able to see the impact that we're able to have already in just a year. The 3 lines of business that we are focused on are regenerative tourism, plastic neutrality, and e-mobility. So regenerative tourism, with Tulum being such a hot spot for tourism and for, during high season, I think that we have the population goes up to around 60,000 people, and that really has an impact on the resources, especially on a place like Tulum, which doesn't necessarily have the infrastructure super well developed. And so, what we want to do is really reimagine the tourist experience. So people are coming to Tulum knowing that they're having an impact and wanting to leave the place a little bit better than they found it. So developing those kinds of conscious tourist experiences and helping them clean Tulum like it needs to be cleaned. The other aspect of what we are working on is plastic neutrality. We have a very good relationship with a company that has a technology that transforms plastic into clean energy. And so through that, we've been developing what we call the plastics-based economy. And part of that is incentivizing people to pick up plastic from the environment and also helping businesses go plastic neutral. Day Zero is an example of one of those organizations that we've been working with now. We actually have been working with them for 3 years, but with Refi Tulum for just a year. And we activated 5 different actions that were planet positive actions for Tulum. Those were all rewarded with Tulum coins. And then we were also able to, participants were able to purchase their festival ticket with those Tulum coins. So really exciting to actually have a transaction and use cases that are actually working, and we're proving the model and proving these new economic systems that we have. And then we have Refi Rides, which is really redefining the ownership and e-mobility experience. So Refi Rides is right now a fleet of 33 electric motor vehicles that can be purchased via an NFT, which gives you access to use that e-bike for as long as you want here in Tulum. The idea is to also expand the network to other parts of Mexico and the world. And that NFT also gives you access to the whole fleet of vehicles. So when you put the NFT back, when you're not using it, you can actually stake it and you can get rewards. And that's a DeFi/refi mechanism that's somewhat like, gaining interest on your money. And then the vision with Refi Rise is also to eventually tap that back into regenerative tourism as well as plastic neutrality and expand to vehicles that can be run on plastic as soon as we have a pet gas plant here in Tulum. So very exciting things. Will, did you want to talk a little bit more about Kingfisher? I realize I don't have a slide for you here, but if you would like.
No, it's fine. It's fine. This is your show. But what I will say is I love the passive income, right? Because what that represents is that somebody say they want to take their family on vacation to Tulum, right? And they want to come experience everything about Tulum. They have a point of entry in order to do that. They'll have mobile transportation that they can rely on to get them around when they're experiencing the sights and sounds of Tulum. And then when they leave, they just basically put the entry point or NFT, non-fungible token for those just joining us today. But they put that token back, right? From that's to reward them for not being. I think that's absolutely.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, thank you. So we're here to talk about Gitcoin, and Gitcoin has a really beautiful slogan called "Fund What Matters," and I think that that's really indicative of, again, the ethos and what we're really doing here, which is taking back control of the things that matter to us. We can't necessarily rely on the government or our respective governments to take care of the things that are important for us. They're too busy funding other things that we don't necessarily are not necessarily even approving. But what we can do is we can take matters into our own hands and we can be the change that we want to see. One of the things that is also a big theme for Gitcoin and in this whole refi movement is the idea of public goods. So what is a public good? A public good is really kind of just what it means, what it says. It's something that is something for the benefit of everyone, like clean air, clean water, a clean Tulum, and that can also extend into open source software. The internet is, for example, a public good. And so Gitcoin is very focused on developing these funding mechanisms for public goods. And the way that I understand this quadratic funding mechanism, how it all came to be, I think it was actually originally even started or blessed by Vitalik Buterin, which is the founder of the Ethereum blockchain. And one of the things that happens with, all of these different blockchains, there's a lot of them that, are up and coming. They have different focuses, or, they have different approaches. And, so there's a lot of new ones, like optimism is one, arbitrum is another. That's what we're going to be using today. And the idea, just like any mobile software or mobile app, you really want to get users. And the beauty of these systems coming together right now is that these blockchains have found that the way to gain users and gain adoption is by participating in these quadratic funding rounds. And so they're putting the money up, and in return, they're getting all of this usage on their blockchain. They're getting liquidity. They're getting people exchanging transactions. So that's really what they want to see. So it's kind of this beautiful marriage between idealism and functionalism. And so quadratic funding is so what happens with the Gitcoin grant rounds is that there's all of these different types of rounds that are funded. In the case of for example, and they have different focuses. So there's like the climate round. The climate round is all about technologies that are helping to impact the climate in a positive way. And so there's a pool of funds, and that pool of funds is allocated to the different participants based on this quadratic funding equation. The quadratic funding equation is something that really rewards a large amount of small community donations versus one large donation by one person. So and another thing that impacts the quadratic funding equation is the passport score. So how human are you? And that's something that we're going to also get into. Yes, tell me.
And I think it's valuable here to kind of just expand a little bit on the quadratic funding equation. So the quadratic funding equation, the way it's written, does not necessarily focus on the dollar amounts raised through these crowdsourced funding mechanisms, like your own peer group, right? Your colleagues that want to support you in a meaningful way. It works more based on the unique contributors. So the more people in your network, in your community, that you get to contribute to these open grant platforms or these open grant programs, that's where the magic happens, right? That's the secret sauce of the way it's formulated. So that's significant because once you hit a certain threshold of unique contributors, then it's going to unlock even more matching. So you're basically going up this tiered scale of like a ladder, right? And so everybody starts at the bottom and you're working your way up the ladder. Well, the further you get up the ladder, the more it's going to exponentialize those funds in the matching pools. And the matching pools are typically provided by higher level entities who are already well funded, right? But they believe in the vision and they want to support the projects in any way that they can.
Yeah, and so that means that $1 that is donated by your community can actually turn into 50 or 70 or 100, depending on what that quadratic equation is. So it's very exciting in terms of raising funds. It's I think it's revolutionary, and we've definitely benefited. This is actually part of the importance of what we're doing is continuing to onboard people and really hold their hands, because there are a lot of steps to go through, and it's not easy, not even for those of us that have been in the space for 3 years plus. So yeah, so thank you, and definitely kudos to everyone that's here for taking this on and seeing how it can support your own initiatives. And as you can see here, there's been from Gitcoin, $4.6 million already donated. I think the program started in 2020. Is that correct, Will?
Somewhere around there, yeah. They're in their 20th iteration.
So the equivalent of $60 million have been distributed to projects around the world that are all impact projects. And so it's really exciting. Did you have another point, Will?
Well, one thing here, I just want to kind of highlight the impact of the quadratic funding equation, why it's so valuable within our circle. So I got the chance to meet the person who created this model and that later got blessed by the talk. And his name is Kevin Owocki. And I don't know if the name has value to anybody, but what is important to know is that he's a very high level data scientist, right? And in the, in our network. The best example, because I heard him talk about this at a recent blockchain event in Denver, Colorado, which is where I'm based out of, is that they took this model. They stripped out all the blockchain and the digital currency aspect of it. And during COVID, they applied it to their local community of Boulder, Colorado. And as a result of it, just getting the local community to participate in this program, they were able to save 2 local businesses from having to shut down during COVID. So I think it's very incredible because it's got a wide variety of applications and use cases that still have yet to be explored.
Yeah, and do you want to talk about some of the things that it's helped you with in with Kingfisher?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Do you want to talk about how Gitcoin has supported Kingfisher in your initiatives?
Oh yeah, Kingfisher's Media. So yeah, this is our third iteration or our third season of running Gitcoin Grants. It's been beneficial because there are some things that we may not need a large funding source to accomplish, especially in Web3. Web3 is pretty we figured out some ways to make it more cost effective. But there may be some things that we need to raise funds for. They're going to get us over that next milestone, right? And Gitcoin Grants has been very beneficial on that. Our original foyer into Gitcoin Grants, essentially that was allowed us to effectuate other things that we needed to do, like develop a internal rewards mechanism. But how do those rewards get distributed to the recipients, and how do those get accounted for from a financial perspective? So I was able to do that with the results from Gitcoin season 19. We were able to take those proceeds and pivot them into other more long-term focused regenerative initiatives. They're going to help to grow the ecosystem. And then this one specifically, we've got this new program called Learn to Earn. And essentially what it is we're rewarding people to get educated, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. We have some very specific mechanisms that effectuate that. We just essentially became a Web3 certified educational organization, which is the equivalent of having an accredited institution on your side providing you with credits on all your courses. So it's really exciting. So yeah, for Gitcoin Grant Season 20, all of the funds used for that we're going to use to accumulate very refi that are going to work.
Oh, I lost you a little bit on the last part of what you said.
Oh, that basically we're going to be rewarding people through education, and indirectly they're going to be making an impact on the environment or on things like extreme poverty, or funding the or being a part of the solar punk paradigm. So that was the last little bit there.
Got it. Beautiful. Okay, so let's get started. So the next steps that we're going to go to are actually setting up your wallet, securing it. We're going to update the chain. So the chain is the blockchain, and we're going to update it to be Arbitron, fund it. Then we're going to go to Gitcoin Passport, and Gitcoin Passport is a way to validate your identity, to validate that you're a human. That's how the scores are also calculated. And then we can find some grants, we can fund them, and then also share the contributions. So those are the steps we're going to be going through. And some of the recommended wallets, or these are the recommended wallets that we use. And I think these are, also very probably US based. If we were in Mexico, we might want to add, or if we are in Mexico, but if we had Mexicans here, they may not be able to access Coinbase, for example. They may want to have Bitso instead, and that would be their exchange versus Coinbase. But with MetaMask, you can actually download it either to your phone or to your computer, and you can actually buy crypto directly via credit card with your MetaMask. So that's a great way to start. Robbie is a newer wallet that is really, highly recommended from a lot of crypto experts that say it's really the most secure wallet. And I've also seen that too, because one of the things that you do as you're going through your Web3 life is connect to different sites via your wallet. And so you do have to be very careful about that. And that's the nice thing that Rabby does, is that it actually does a pre-filter and checks the site before you actually connect, and will give you warnings. And then Coinbase is just, super easy, user friendly. There's a KYC process involved. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. So you may have to upload your passport or your driver's license. And then Coinbase is also a very easy off-ramp from crypto to fiat. So those are some of the things to keep in mind for when you're deciding what kind of wallet you want to download. You can either download it to your phone or to your computer. I mostly use all of my wallets on my computer. I don't have anything on my phone. And yeah, anything to add to that, Will, in terms of wallet hygiene? Or, I mean, we're going to get into wallet hygiene steps, but anything else in terms of wallets?
Yeah, this is a great question. This is a great question. No, sorry. This is a great question. Do you have me? Okay.
Yeah.
This is a great question, because it's important here to understand that while the main emphasis may not be to interact with financial applications, you still need to understand at the end of the day, these are financial applications and there are financial impacts to that, right? So the sensitivity and the security that you should treat your wallets with, because that's your primary source of visibility to what's actually stored on the blockchain, would be to treat it as if it were a safety deposit box. I think that's the most relative term, right? So any information that you're going to accumulate through this process to establish your accounts and get your wallet set up, you definitely need to treat those as if you're putting something into a security deposit box. But additionally, you need to have some separation. That being said, what I would recommend for like ultimate wallet hygiene principles is to get, like, if you can, and if it's within your budget to do so, or if you have another one lying around, just put your wallets on a separate device that don't regularly connect to the internet, right? That's just like the most secure bit of wisdom that I can give you when it comes to that. So, and I know, like, most like burner phones are a great way to do that, because they're pretty economical. And so, that's really the best thing. But you just want to create that firewall between you and your wallet, because in most instances we've seen where wallets get relieved of their funds or get relieved of their prized possession. It's because people aren't necessarily paying attention 100%. Maybe they're overtired. Maybe they have sleep deprivation. Maybe they're just an insomniac that likes to stay up in the middle of the night and can't really fall asleep, which is fine. But yeah, just make sure you create that firewall separation between you and your wallet, and then between the wallet and the internet. Another point I'd like to emphasize is only access your wallet when you are intent on making a transaction and an interaction. And I'll leave it there.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's great, great advice. Thank you. Okay, so these are the steps for the wallet activation. First, we're going to download it, secure it, do KYC if it's asked of us, fund it, and then we'll update the chain. So one of the things that's also most important about your wallet is your seed phrase. And your seed phrase is something that you never want to lose. You want to keep it in a safe place, never share it with anyone. Probably the best and most secure way to keep a seed phrase is to maybe write it physically in several locations, not on your computer. Make sure it's offline, and then also make sure you're putting in the two-factor authentication on your wallet. So if there's any suspicious activity, you get that notification. And then always beware of links that you are clicking into and that they are secure. Anything to add here?
Love about this, like the example of the seed phrase, and you turned it into a teaching tool, right? Because that's really important, because you're really getting the message across there. I will also say too, I want to speak to two-factor authentication real quick. because this is something that I've noticed even in the more traditional business environment, people are resistant to. But this is the new way, and it's not just a Web3 thing, it's not just a blockchain thing, right? This is also making its way now into traditional business, into society, as a way of protecting your digital identity. There is so much theft of identity, theft of finances prevalent out there because of the maturation of the internet and how there have been certain mechanisms that make it easier for people who have this malintent, I'll categorize it as that, to operate in that space, right? So this is something that if you haven't been exposed to it, you will be exposed to it shortly through a different thing. So don't be afraid of it. It is becoming more and more commonplace in our societies to protect even your internet connections with two-factor authenticator.
Yeah, and actually a lot of people in the space even use VPNs to connect. So that's another.
Which is a virtual private network.
Right, yeah. And how does that protect?
Because it essentially is like a remote IP address, right? So it doesn't necessarily identify your internet connection from where you're natively connecting from. It kind of masks it in a way, or it'll hop it to a different point within the network where it appears that you're connecting from a different place when in actuality you're connecting from, like your home computer.
Yeah, that's something I haven't implemented yet, but definitely plan to.
Well, being here in the US, we have to be careful because the US government is against things like VPN, is against things like viral social media. So yeah, we just have to tread lightly for now.
Okay, so these are some of the important features of your wallet. Obviously, the seed phrase, we just went through that. And what you have here are the 3 examples of the 3 wallets that we recommend. So Rabby, MetaMask, and Coinbase. Rabby is now my preferred wallet because of those security measures that I discussed earlier, which are it actually tracking every site and making sure that it's not a shady, suspicious site that you're connecting to and giving you those warnings. And so what I'm just pointing out to here is where you can find things like your public address. The public address is something that's very important because whenever you receive funds, that's the address that you want to give. So it's located here in Rabby, here, and you can actually see the copy option in MetaMask, and then in Coinbase, this is the wallet. The other thing that is very, very important to keep in mind is the chain. So if you are ever to receive any crypto, you must ensure that you are receiving it on the proper chain. So someone can send me ETH, but if they send me ETH from the Arbitron chain, and I give them my wallet address, which is on Arbitron. Sorry, let's say let me reverse that. So right now I'm on the Arbitron chain. Let's say I ask somebody to send me ETH. If I send them this wallet that's not on the Arbitron chain, those funds could get lost. So it's very important that you know what chain you're on, and when you're giving your wallet address, that you're giving the proper wallet address. And same thing with MetaMask. So if you want to change the chain, that you can find that option here. Right now, this one is on Ethereum. I can tell by the symbol. And then with Coinbase, you actually have to click into this particular link here, and then it'll show you the different addresses. So you can see here in Coinbase that there are different addresses for Ethereum, for Solana, and for Bitcoin. So just really important that when you're doing any kind of transaction, that you have that clarity and you understand what chain you're operating on, as well as what token.
Just one little add-on for that. So the blockchain operates on addressing and indexing. So the point that Sandra's making here is if the blockchain is confused about where to basically allocate that information, then it's not going to get to the right place.
Exactly. And a lot of us have lost funds because of this. So very, very, very important to understand that. Okay, so this is Gitcoin Passport. And Gitcoin Passport, as I mentioned, this is one of the steps that you want to go through before actually making any donation on Gitcoin grant for GG20. And essentially what you want to do is you want to sign in, you want to connect your wallet, connect the correct wallet. They're asking you to sign in with Ethereum, and then go through these steps that it's asking you to go through to verify that you're an actual human. So, Will, did you want to take it from here, or do you want me to share the?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
No, I mean, I could talk about this because this is a beautiful example. So all the information we've shared so far, right? Especially Sandra, you're seeing that there's millions and millions and millions of dollars of risk. So when you start attracting that type of activity, obviously there's going to be people that are going to come in and they're going to want to try and extract what they feel their portion of that funding should be, right? We refer to this as a Sybil, SYBIL attack, right? Or a bad actor or a nefarious. So what this passport does is it alleviates that activity by proving your authenticity based on the activity you've produced inside of your wallet and your interactions with the blockchain. Now, there's some of these that work just on facial recognition. One I really like, Sandra, in this example is the holonym. If you can highlight that one real quick. But the holonym basically captures your identity without you having to give up your full identity. All you have to do is prove that your identity is what you say your identity is. So that's a really good example there too, of kind of alternate technology that's interacting with this. The other thing about Passport is it's creating your Web3 social graph in a way, right? So it's taking all your activity that you've done in Web3 and on the blockchain through your wallet and through all your wallet interactions. It's bringing it all into one resource, and then it's verified that. And it's verified that that is the only wallet address that has produced that type of activity. There's other things in here too, like Civic. So Civic uses the identity verification based on how good of a citizen you've been within within the Web3 environment. Another one too that I feel, so if you set up a Coinbase account, you can confirm your Coinbase account and earn points that way. NFT, right? So that's a good one because we're talking about NFT here today. You have NFTs in Refi Tulu. We talked about that example real quick. So if you hold one of those NFTs, then just by sheer participation, you can get verified that in your score. And I know right now that they're kind of going through some changes, Sandra, in the background. I've been talking with one of the program managers, and they're going through different changes. So right now they're kind of back to an experimentation phase to see what's going to work for the many rather than the few, which I think is what's really exciting when we talk about open software, open source software development. So it is a game of figuring things out, and so they're figuring out what are going to be the best strategies going forward. But I would say those are just some of my favorite ones. I don't know. Do you have any favorite ones in this example, Sandra?
I really liked Coinbase, but because I'm switching wallets right now, I have a 6-month window before I can actually get the points for that. I also, so I'm basically starting from scratch on a lot of these with a new wallet, which is unfortunate, but also gives me an opportunity to test them out. I've tested out IDENA, which actually has you go through a series of tests on, it's kind of like the CAPTCHA, but I think a little bit more advanced in that it gives you a sequence of different images and asks you to put the images in the correct location. So again, going through those actions and verifying that you're a human and taking those actions. And I'm going to check out Holonym. That's been recommended by a few people, so I'm going to go into that one as well. But then the low-hanging fruit are these ones, which are very simple. So you can also just connect your LinkedIn, your Google, and your Discord. I think the important thing to do, or I guess this round, I'm not sure how important that threshold is. As you can see, I only have 0 right now, and my wallet is connected. And you can see that that little rabbit sign shows that it's got the Rabby wallet there. But did you have more insight in terms of the scoring and
I don't know that that's really major factor right now. I mean, you could test it out. If you go to Gitcoin Explorer and you added a, a project or a startup to your cart, right after you connect your wallet, you could see if you made and this is a really good show and tell here, so I really like this. Not that you're highlighting Kingfisher's media, but just the visibility of it.
Well,
Because it shows people the process, right? Connect your wallet, add to your cart, go to your cart. And then here, so let's just say, put in an amount next to the ETH symbol. I don't know, 0.0004 or something like that, probably. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, so you can see, yeah, there you go. So now you can see, okay, this is a beautiful example. So you can see if Sandra wanted to contribute the equivalent of $1.23 in ETH token to Kingfisher's media and our funding, look at that estimated match. That estimated match is now $189.64. That means for every $1.25, the matching is going to be amplified up to $189. And that's the beauty of the quadratic funding model.
exactly, exactly. I'm trying, and then, but the 12 ARB, that's also related to this contribution? I only have one thing in my,
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. You just may need to reset your card, possibly.
let's see here.
I don't know why it says your contribution on our. Is your wallet connected? Oh, because you've got other
That's
ones
why
in
I
there
got
too.
all these other ones here. Yes, that's why.
Okay. Yep, no worries.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. So yeah, great example.
Yeah. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. I think we already went through that part. Any questions, Tony?
No, I'm just taking it all in.
Yeah, it's a lot for sure. That's why I wanted to definitely make this a, hands-on workshop. I think that if I had had somebody to hold my hand during the process, the first few times, I would have come out a lot better, a lot smoother. But, a lot of these things are very, as somebody that's new to the Web3 space or blockchain in general, very kind of challenging to grasp and understand, like, why you have to go through all these different hoops and connect your wallet and the stamps. So yeah, I appreciate also Will's.
And then I'll just say, Tony, I understand because I had this experience, right? When you're first trying to digest this information, it feels like a lot of information coming to you at one time. But the beauty of that is that one, this is recorded, right? So you can go through it bit by bit, so you can get a deeper layer of understanding about it. Two, you're connected to a quality person and mentor and guide in this experience like Sandra. So you have a resource there to always lean into if you have any questions, you don't understand anything. So yeah, that's what makes this whole ecosystem so beautiful.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, so start funding public goods. So we already had a little bit of a glimpse of the Explore. And oops, how do I do this again? Back here. So this is all of the different rounds that are in play right now. And you can see, what we had talked about. There's, a lot of technical ones, Web3 infrastructure, tooling for developers, climate round, regenerative land projects. So this climate round is the one that Refi Tulum is participating in. And there's 129 projects, it looks like, that are part of it. And we are all going to be taking part of this $125,000 in matching funds. Also, again, dependent on the quadratic funding equation. There's 4 days left to participate and to donate. There's also a number of other very exciting rounds like the Earth round and the Earth token. Do you want to talk about this one? Because we're also participating, and I know that Kingfisher is as well.
Sorry, do you have a question?
Yeah,
Oh,
the Earth token and the Earth round.
yeah,
That it's a distribution of Earth. So Earth is
correct. Right.
Earth is a new token that is $sign Earth is the token name, and it's backed by real world assets, and they also are doing funding of regenerative projects like Refi Tulum and like Kingfisher. And we are, the funding on this one is actually of the 10,000 Earth tokens or 1,000 Earth
So
tokens.
it's 1,000 Earth, but because of the way that Gitcoin represents the information and the data, they had to have a representation of a dollar value here. So even though it says 10,000 USDC, which is a stable coin that's pegged 1-to-1 to the US dollar, it's not actually the USD that you'll receive, it's the Earth token itself, which in my mind is a lot more valuable because it's a fairly new token that's been introduced to the ecosystem, but it is going to go to fund a lot of initiatives that we care about, right? Like making an impact on the environment, like being able to have participating interest in tangible assets from a financial consideration, like gold, right? But not gold that's already been extracted from the ground, gold deposits that are already in the ground. That's what you were highlighting them for a minute there.
Alternate. Yes.
Alternate. That's what they do, right? So yeah, it's just really cool. It's a new, I think it's a new use case for Gitcoin grants and the platform they use called Grant Stacks. But I think as it develops and as people start looking at how they're going to use these tokens in their own projects or companies, like what we're doing, I explained that before, we're using it to provide rewards out to our learners. So now they've got some of this new token, but they also can have the understanding that they're doing good and making an impact on the world while they're learning, which I think is just incredible and beautiful at the same time.
Absolutely. And we're participating. And, one of the things that we've been really focused on here too in Tulum is proving these new models and creating the proof points for the new economy that we're building. So, continuing to expand on the tokens that are in circulation here and creating those paths to actually using them. And that's one of the things that we'd like to do with Earth, similar to how we've done with Pet Gas Coin, as well as with the Tulum coin. So actually being able to have a real exchange of goods, services, or rewards with these different tokens. So we're really excited about it as well. And not doing so bad, but so here you can see we've got 11 contributors, 1450. It's just a really kind of cool that you can really galvanize so many people, or not, there's not so many here in this one, but these just small funds and the fact that they will turn into something more with that multiplier effect. And those are the ones that I also highlighted here in this slide. So we, between Kingfisher and Refi Tulum, we're participating in 3 different rounds. Refi Tulum is actually participating in the climate round and the Earth round, and Kingfisher is participating in the Earth round and the mission #1 round. And that, as you'll notice here, this is actually a different blockchain. So in order to donate to Kingfisher on the fractal one, you're not actually going to have to change blockchains, because in the shopping cart, it will show all of the options. Is that correct? I don't think you really have to do anything much for that, right?
It will prompt you to make the change when you go to make your contribution.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And yeah, support Tulum, help us build a new economy, and help us support Web3 education. I've got the links here to our grants, and I can follow up and send this over to everybody, the presentation as well as the links. And yeah, with that, I think we're coming up on the hour and just want to open up for questions.
I don't have a question now, but that was a great overview. I'm very interested in this GG20 and this, so thank you for explaining it.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Do you see how, do you have any ideas for how it might apply to your work or other things that you're involved with?
Potentially, I'd have to explore a little bit more other than wanting to support the projects. What I do is also considered very regenerative, so there may be something to explore there as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, it's pretty broad what I've seen in terms of the different rounds and the types of projects that are participating. For example, there's a guy in Honduras who is like the plant guy, and he's got a little bicycle like the ones that we've got the plant guys here as well. And he goes around and he plants plants all around his village, and has his own grants, which is really cool to see. And then I was also looking because we have a friend that's in the movie space and was also curious about how quadratic funding could support his movie endeavor. And we're looking through the grants, and there was one on a different platform that was actually a whole movie with a storyline, and the part of the storyline was the blockchain itself made it into the script. So that was also very interesting. So I think that there's a lot of creative ways that you can explore and start to also tailor your projects or your initiatives or leverage blockchain in different ways for promoting them and also for funding them. So yeah, I think the things sort of to keep in mind for the future, for future rounds, and well, obviously explore the rounds that are happening right now in the Gitcoin Explorer, but also start to think about how you might prepare or develop a grant application related to what you're doing.
Yeah, and I would say just to add on to that, if you need any help in the process and trying to incubate this idea to manifest it, definitely reach out to Sandra. Sandra has my contact information. I don't mind Sandra sharing out my contact information. Partner with pioneers who have paved a path before you. So this way we can help you kind of incubate that and get it set up in the right format. So this way, when it's presented to reviewers, they'll have no problems or issues approving your grant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Well, I think then we probably don't need to take the full hour, and I just want to thank you both for your participation and your attendance and for your desire to leave the world a better place. And yeah, with that, yeah, let you both go. Thank you.